Alright, welcome to the Explainer. Usually, we're dissecting complex arguments or digging into detailed historical timelines. But today we're diving into a genuinely bizarre internet artifact. We found a transcript from a channel called Royal Best Family. And look, they promised this epic, sweeping data set of history, but what they actually delivered is, well, it's something entirely different. It's this fascinating case study of what happens when digital packaging promises you the absolute world, but the contents are, let's just say, uniquely abstract. We're calling this explainer Anatomy of a Timeline, the Seven Presidents Paradox. Let's get right into it. Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. This is the literal opening line of the transcript, and it sets this massive, ambitious stage. It says, "Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're taking a fascinating journey through history as we reveal the ages, birth dates, and lifespans of some of the most famous U.S. presidents. You might be surprised by who lived the longest and who died at a very young age." Now, I gotta say, as a data nerd, when I read this, I'm hooked, right? We're being promised chronological data, lifespan outliers, historical anomalies, basically a deep dive into the lives of the most powerful leaders in American history. It is literally the perfect setup for a compelling historical analysis. But then, we hit this immediate, just completely jarring pivot in literally the very next breath. Now, what's really interesting here is how we transition directly from stay until the end because the final facts may shock you, straight into, hey, yes, Seriously, it is a spectacular subversion of expectations. I mean, we're bracing ourselves for George Washington's exact lifespan data, and instead, boom! We get hit with a wall of pure, unadulterated phonetic sound. There is zero historical data here, none whatsoever, just abstract vocalization. Section 1, the audio gap, transcribing the void. So what exactly do we do when the data we were promised just doesn't exist? Well, because there's absolutely no presidential data to look at, we have to pivot. We're going to treat this phonetic void as our primary data set, and when you break down the literal linguistics of this middle section, a really distinct hierarchy emerges. Forget Washington, Lincoln, or Roosevelt, guys. In this specific historical journey, the dominant figure is the word hey, appearing a staggering 17 times. It's basically the absolute anchor of this entire transcript. Following closely behind that is the oo or oo sound family, registering 13 occurrences, and then, completely out of left field, we have the word heat, showing up 10 times. O appears 6 times, and then our sort of miscellaneous scatter of N, ah, and ow makes up the final 10 data points. It's just this perfectly quantified snapshot of pure digital noise. Section 2. Transcript Phases, a chronological journey. Now, believe it or not, this data isn't just a random jumble. It actually systematically evolves. When we map it all out from beginning to end, we can see exactly how these transcribed sounds shift over the course of the text. There's a real rhythm and structure at play here. Look at phase 1, what we're calling the oo/hey era. The text here is relatively rhythmic, almost breezy, right? Hey, hey, ooh. It's kind of musical. But then the tone abruptly shifts into phase 2, which is the heat era. We get this incredibly aggressive, repetitive introduction of a totally new variable, heat, ooh, hey, oh, hey, heat, and. The sudden, really dense clustering of the word heat just completely disrupts the phonetic landscape we built up in phase 1. And quantitatively speaking, this shift is massive. Just look at this. In phase 1, mentions of the word heat are at absolute zero, complete absence. Then, suddenly in phase 2, we see this huge spike, all the way up to 6 mentions, and they are clustered incredibly tightly together. Moving into the final phase of the gibberish, it tapers off slightly to 4 mentions, but it remains a completely dominant structural motif. Honestly, we have to treat heat as a really critical turning point in our explainer today. It perfectly represents an escalation in the transcript's automated rhythm right before we hit the climax. Which brings us to the grand finale of our dataset. This is the climactic string of phonetic text right before the transcript abruptly changes gears yet again. Read it with me, it's wild. Ooh-hoo-hey, ooh-hoo-hey, ooh-hey, ooh-hey, heat, nen, hey, heat, nen, ooh-hey. It's just incredible. All the motifs from our previous phases, they're totally synthesized right here. You've got the dominant hey, you have that recurring structural pillar of heat, but then we also see the re-emergence of that mysterious letter N just sitting there all by itself. Plus, a very satisfying return to the oo sound that we haven't actually seen since the very beginning of the transcript. It is literally a closed loop of absolute, algorithmically interpreted nonsense. Section 3. The final engagement push, returning to reality. So the haze and heats vanish just as quickly as they arrived, and we get this sudden whiplash-inducing return to standard spoken English right at the very end of the text. The transcript just abruptly pivots straight into this line. Which president surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. I mean, it is delivered with complete, unironic sincerity. You really have to appreciate the profound irony of this question. We have spent the entirety of this text analyzing hay, ooh, and heat. Literally 0 presidents were named between the dramatic introduction and this outro, and yet the transcript confidently assumes you've just consumed this rich, surprising, historical documentary, and it desperately wants your hot take on it. And of course, it wraps up exactly how you'd expect literally any piece of digital content to finish these days, with those standard calls to action. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and my personal favorite, the ultimate closer, share this video for more amazing timeline videos. It perfectly wraps up the standard digital packaging. It's the exact structural framework of an educational historical deep dive, executed absolutely flawlessly, despite the complete and total absence of the promised historical content actually being inside that package. Which really leaves us with a truly fascinating question to ponder today. In an era that's increasingly driven by automated content and algorithmically generated transcripts, is the packaging actually more important than the presidents? Think about it. This source text gave us the perfect hook, it gave us the perfect call to action, and it sandwiched absolutely nothing but machine-transcribed noise in between. Yet, it was still published and pushed out into the world. It's a bizarre reality of modern internet artifacts, and it really makes you question exactly what we're consuming when we click on that perfectly optimized tile. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this entirely unconventional data journey today. I really hope this explainer was giving you a completely new way to look at the media you encounter online.